It's Roger Rabbit's first Christmas at Disneyland. We're talking Roger Rabbit and the Christmas Factory. Hit it. It was 1988. The Lakers won the NBA championship. Eddie Murphy came to America, and Roger Rabbit had a hit movie and his own live show at Disneyland. I'm your host, Jerry D, with another episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, joining me is a Totally Rad Christmas All-Star and Ratty winner. It's comedian and host of Can't Wait for Christmas, Tim Babb. Tim, how's it going?
Hey, this is going great.
This is gonna be a fun one. Yeah, how you been? I think it's been a while since we recorded.
I believe the last time we recorded, it was about the Andy Williams Christmas special where he took the the NBC kids to the North Pole. Not the North Pole, like Finland or something.
Finland, yeah, he kidnapped them to Finland, yeah. Hey, kids that I sometimes never work with, come on with me. You don't need your parents' permission. Don't worry about it. That's breaking a lot of international laws there, but yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Good to see you as well.
What have you been up to?
Oh, just the same old stuff. Just pitting musicians against each other in our Merry Music Madness competition over at Can't Wait for Christmas.
Yeah, hard choices there.
Yes, it is getting hard, especially now that we're the first rounds we're like, I'm not that big a fan of this artist, but now it's like getting where, I don't know who to pick between, the Muppets and who are they up against? The Tabernacle Choir on Temple Square. That's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful, yeah.
I might not even be right. That's how bad I am at keeping records.
No, I get it. I'm the same way.
That's why I wrote them down, so I don't have to remember.
That's exactly right. And that's why I have a whole list of notes right here, just because I don't remember the special. I mean, it's yeah.
I did it analog style.
Oh, nice.
Not even on my phone, with a pencil and a notebook.
Nice. I found nowadays, if I want to spend time with my kids, I have to do everything like in the shower or while I'm brushing my teeth. And so, it's like just furiously taking notes wherever I can. So we're here to talk Roger Rabbit. Now, before we do that, I want to do my brand new segment called Hit Me with the Toaster. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to hit me with the first answer you think about. You don't have to think about it too hard, okay?
Okay.
So question one, let's say Judge Doom is Scrooge. Recast the Ghosts of Christmas with Roger Rabbit, Bugs Bunny, and Mickey Mouse.
Okay, well, Mickey Mouse is definitely present. Bugs Bunny is future. So that means Roger Rabbit is past?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have flipped it. But you know what? I got to go with my first answer.
No, I think it's right. I think Bugs Bunny would actually do something to scare them straight.
That's what I'm like. He is the darkest one, so I feel like he had to be the future.
Right.
But I think maybe Mickey could have been past. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah. All right. Let's say Santa is missing. Who would you rather have on the case? Eddie Valiant or Inspector Gadget?
Eddie Valiant, 1,000%. Have you ever actually, without Penny and Brain, Inspector Gadget is almost useless.
Yeah, it's pretty true. Poor guy.
Like, if it weren't for the kid in that show, sorry for all the gadget heads out there who are going to come at me in the comments.
It's fine. You can address all hate to Totally Rad Christmas. It's fine. Leave Tim alone. But no, I know what you mean. He tries, but yeah, without Penny, she's basically the brains of the operation. So yeah, I get it. All right, and last one. Let's say you're spending Christmas in Toon Town. What side dish do you bring to dinner?
That is hard. Because you can't bring like most things are alive in Toon Town. So what do you bring?
Exactly.
I bring a glass of water and hope for the best. It's like the Muppet Family Christmas when the Swedish chef is going to make the turkey and Big Bird's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, I'm making oatmeal." Or he's like,
That's right. Oh man, now I feel like watching Muppet Family Christmas. Oh
I
man,
always feel like watching Muppet Family Christmas.
so good. It's so good. Uh, so that's just a way. Thank you. That's just a way for our listeners to get to know you a little bit better.
Oh,
But
well, I
yes.
apologize, listeners. Now you know me better.
But now we're here to talk Roger Rabbit.
Hello? Where is everybody? Please, everybody, where are you?
It's Roger Rabbit's first Christmas at Disneyland, and he can't wait to get into everything.
That's me! Wow!
He's the star of our parade and our craziest Christmas show ever.
My name is Life. I'm the star of my own show. Makeup.
And you can celebrate with Roger every day, now through January 2nd at Disneyland.
So before we get into this Roger Rabbit and the Christmas Factory, which was a live show done at Disneyland, what's your history with Roger Rabbit in general? Like, what do you remember about him?
Oh, I was huge into Roger Rabbit. When that movie came out, well, first of all, the fact that Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny were appearing in the same movie was like, I was fairly little. I wasn't that little. I was at least 11, possibly 12, 11. I was 11. Who cares?
Right.
I was young enough. I was young enough that I was super interested, but old enough that I shouldn't have quite been this like world shattered by it. But I'm like, you don't understand. Warner Brothers is one company and Disney is another company. They're having their characters cross over in this movie.
Yeah, it was totally mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
I still want them to get together again. It's like Marvel and DC, it's like we're waiting for that movie to happen. Like just make it happen.
But also like just the idea of the way they were like animation and live action had been combined before. A lot of people seem to think that this was like the first time it happened, but like, no, it was not only it happened in things famously like in Mary Poppins, but like even back in Disney's early days where he actually did the reverse and put a live action person in animation with the Alice. I think they're just called the Alice shorts, where they just cut out the images of a little girl and put her in with a cartoon. That sounds seedy. I swear it's not. I'm just bad at describing things.
I mean, we did talk about a guy kidnapping some kids, so I think I think we're past that line now.
All right, good. But yeah, I'm huge into Roger Rabbit. I loved the movie. I had a doll, the Roger Rabbit stuffed toy where you pulled the string and he said stuff.
Yeah.
And I used it so much that eventually it broke and it just like started doing it at high speed. So it was like you'd pull it and you go, what happened?
Wow.
In fact, I might still have it. I'm like, it's at my mom's house,
like in
my old toy box.
Nice. So I'm actually kind of the same way. I remember I loved Mary Poppins. I loved Bedknobs and Broomsticks was a huge one, when they go to that island with the animals. I mean, yeah, it's been done, but there was something about the way they did it here that was different. And I think it's because they like interacted with scenery, the shadows, like they animated shadows crossing the characters. I mean, they really put a lot of work into it. But then also, it's like Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck and Daffy Duck together. Like that was amazing. And I'm actually kind of right there with you. We're about the same age, and it was the same thing. It was like, whoa, like my little brain just exploded at the crossover possibilities.
And Betty Boop is in that same scene. You're like, this is all of this. None of this should be happening. And yet here we are.
Exactly. 3 different studios all working together. Like, what's going on? We haven't seen this cooperation since like Sony and Marvel, with Spider-Man. Yeah, it was something crazy. I loved it. I've seen it a bazillion times. It's just it's fantastic. And of course, Charles Fleischer, his voice as Roger Rabbit is now so iconic that even though they would use like Barnett Ricci and other folks to do voices at Disneyland and Disney World, they actually got Charles Fleischer himself to do the voice of Roger Rabbit for these different in-park things. So
good.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa, okay, what's going on?
I met him once.
Did you really?
Yeah, they do a film festival in San Jose called the Cinequest Film Festival. It's like an independent film festival, and they have people, like Val Kilmer's been here.
Oh, wow.
Harrison Ford. I got to see Harrison. I mean, I didn't meet Harrison Ford, but I got to at least see his talk. But I actually was volunteering at the festival this one year, and Charles Fleischer was one of the guests. And like an after party, he was there, and I made the mistake of trying to like witty banter improv with him. And and then I'm like, I'm a comedian, he's a comedian. I'm like, oh wait, we are on different levels. And he's like, okay, here we go. I'm going to take it up to 11. I'm like, I'm here on 3, and I am just burning my wheels out to try and keep up with you. So I'm just going to go back to the shrimp table and eat more. But super cool dude.
Okay, well that's that's good. That's good at least. Yeah, he's been in a lot of things too. Some of them I don't recognize. Like if you were to tell me he was in Nightmare on Elm Street, I'd be like, who? Which one?
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like a doctor or something. But same thing. He was in Back to the Future too.
Yes, I knew. I saw instantly. I was like, "That's Roger
Rabbit." Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, and it's like a lot of little things like that. You're just like, oh wow, this guy's been in just about everything. Roger Rabbit, fantastic film, and the score is amazing. Bob Hoskins. That was like my first real introduction to Bob Hoskins as an actor.
Same.
Even though he was already kind of big by then, and people knew him, but not me. I didn't know him. Yeah, it was a great film. And so when I was doing the show, one of the first things I thought of was, look, Roger Rabbit came out in the late 80s. There's got to be something Christmassy about it. So I searched and searched and searched, and finally I found this theme park show that they did voices for, and this is wild. This is something else. Yeah.
I mean, I have a theory about this, but we'll get into it.
So you didn't actually see this when it was at Disneyland, did you? Because I know you're in that area. Were you in that area at the time?
Not only was I in that area, like I used to go to Disneyland every year for Christmas. And I am reasonably sure, because I'm looking at this and I remember it, I am reasonably sure I have this poster somewhere. So I'm pretty sure I was there this year.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
But I have no memory of the show.
I understand.
I don't know if I blocked it out or if we just, like, I was in my era of like, we can't be going to shows, all rides, no parades, no shows. I don't want to hear any music. I want to go to the rides and ride them.
Yep. I actually didn't go into that phase until like high school. Mostly because all my friends were like that. So, you got to fit in. So I was like, all right. And if all the girls were doing it, it's like, well, I'm going where the girls go. So, high school. But yeah, so I've never seen this. And it's funny because it's not like an official release. The only thing that you can find a couple of different versions, but they're all the same. It's probably some dude with like one of those big over the shoulder cameras recording it, and that's all there is. And so you hear the audience, you hear kids crying, you got
that VHS resolution.
Exactly. And it's never straight on. It's always like from an angle. So
like, I'm not even sure what stage this was on. Like, I thought this was on, I assumed it was on like the stage where they do Mickey's Magical Map. And I don't know what they're doing there now. I think it's something else, but it's right by the Toon Town train station, which obviously wasn't called that yet, because they didn't have a Toon Town back then.
Right.
But then I'm thinking it's where Star Wars Land is now, and where the Hunchback of Notre Dame Feast of Fools used to be, and then where nothing was for a very long time.
Yeah, it's expanded quite a bit. I haven't been back since '97. That was the last time I was there.
Wow.
So, yeah. And Disney World, I haven't been since '95. So
I've probably been 97 times since 97.
That's why you're on the show. I know that's your area of expertise. Yeah, it's one of those where like I want to go, I want to take the kids, but it's expensive when you're flying from Texas with a family of 5. So we'll get there eventually. We just probably not anytime soon, unfortunately. But yeah, so I never saw this. Watching it, I know as a kid, 1,000,000%, if I was watching it live as a kid, I would have loved this thing. I would have thought it was awesome. Santa's in it. There's dancing toy soldiers. I mean, Roger Rabbit, like that's a combination for like a win-win-win right there, But watching it now, from a VHS tape. And then I do like how at the very end of this particular one, there's a father talking to his son and his daughter,
Yeah.
asking, "What'd you think of the show?" And you could tell they were pretty disinterested at the time.
Well, like he gives a very disinterested face, but then also the son gives 2 thumbs up. I was like, really? Your thumbs in your face do not agree.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, was he just trying to humor the dad? I have a feeling he was. Like,
Yeah, probably.
okay. And the daughter kind of ignores him for a bit before she finally.
Yeah.
But I think if it was me, I would have been all in. But yeah, watching it now, off angle with this quality, it's not quite as meaningful. But I still actually kind of really enjoyed this in a weird way. I don't know if that just makes me odd or what, but I it's something else.
I mean, there was definitely something to enjoy in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did keep it up for what, a couple of months. So, but it hasn't been back also. So I guess
No.
you gotta weigh that. Let's go ahead and dive right in this thing. So
Let's do it.
it's kind of the whole thing is basically a flashback told from or by Murray, who is the elf foreman of Santa's Christmas factory.
Naturally.
Murray's my name and Christmas is my game. I'm an elf. Chief elf to the big guy himself. You know what I mean, Chris Kringle, old Saint Nick, the guy with the belly, the chook like jelly. Santa Claus, right. Yeah, and I'm the foreman of his Christmas factory here.
And I love how they always give these like foreman characters like a thick like New York style accent. That's the Teamster.
That is so true.
I don't know
Why are they all New Yorkers? Hey, come
Especially-
over here. Forget about it. I'm over here in the North Pole. Hey, I got my goal.
I mean, you'd think come on, they're at the North Pole. Shouldn't they have some sort of, or at least a Finnish accent from what we
Right.
talked about? Yeah.
Or
It's-
even Canadian. I'll take Canadian.
I'll take
hey.
Canadian too. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we're at the North
Sure.
Pole. Eh?
Oh, sorry. We're running late.
That's the holiday clock there. So yeah, Murray introduces himself, and he, of course, he does that typical stage show. And I do love this because every single performer is playing to the back of the theater there. I mean,
Yeah, you gotta.
exactly. It's a live show, and he's just talking to the kids. And yeah, I'm Murray. I'm the elf foreman, and he's checking his list. We got the toys, the soldiers. Just he's running through all his list here, and he introduces himself, but he realizes something's missing, and so he forgets basically about his theme music. This is where he cranks up the band.
He opens a little door thing, window. I'm not really sure what it is, but like a little panel slides open, and there's a band there that he has to crank up and get started.
Mhm.
Forgive me if I'm wrong. Granted, it could just be the angles I saw it on. We don't see the band again after that. Like I'm sure we
No.
hear them.
We do hear them, but no, we don't see them at all.
I'm like, what was the point of making a meal out of them showing up when they're gone for the rest of it?
You got to make that 30-minute time, I guess.
Look, we got to get people out of not in line for Splash Mountain for another 20 minutes.
That's right. That's right. Or it's like
Too early for Splash Mountain. Sorry, it was 88. Splash Mountain opened in 89. I know, but
wow.
if someone called me on that in the comments, I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Well, see, I don't know. So yeah, could have been right. I don't know. I don't know my Disneyland history, but yeah. So he cranks it up, and it's like a motorboat, where you're like, or lawnmower, where you're pulling it.
Yeah.
That's right. And then the band starts playing, and then he starts getting into it, and he's like, "Hey," but he introduces himself. And this is where he talks about the first time he met Roger Rabbit.
I'll never forget the first Christmas I met Roger Rabbit. Oh boy, I knew he was trouble from the word go. Oh, yeah, but the kid, well, he needed a break, and I was in a jam, because it was Christmas Eve. I had toys to produce and an opening for an elf.
Okay, so I mean, I know it's a Roger Rabbit show, but he doesn't do it organically at all. It's literally just like, okay, here's my band, boom, let's talk Roger Rabbit now. Yeah. I think nowadays writing for a lot of these shows, even though they're still kind of the same, but they have improved a bit. And so
Yes.
yeah, things kind of work out a little more smoothly.
Well, because I feel like they do much more synergy. Like as they're planning the movie, they're also like, okay, here's a movie we're planning. Theme park company, start working on a show so that we can have this have this all show up at the same time. Like on the Avengers campus at Disneyland, like whenever there's a new Marvel movie or Disney Plus show, that character's in the parks like the week it premieres or something.
Oh,
and
wow.
like they have like a whole not like a whole show like this, but like they'll have like some patter before they do their meet and greet and pictures and whatnot. Whereas I believe, this is my theory about this was not about Roger Rabbit when they wrote it.
I completely agree. It could have been
Because-
anyone in there.
Exactly. I was trying to figure out who was this originally for. Like, I feel like it's too zany to be Mickey.
Right.
But
It's
I
more like a
don't-
Donald or something.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't see them giving this like a goofy, like a starring show like this, but it could be. Or was it like was it for another character? Like, this definitely seems in line for something they would give to Stitch.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's too early for that. Like, Stitch
Right,
wasn't
right.
coming,
He
doesn't
wasn't-
come out for, I think, another 10 years almost. Maybe
Mhm.
more, actually, now that I think about it. So I'm like, who was this originally written for? Because this has, like, if you're like, oh, I love that Roger Rabbit movie, I can't wait to see more of the themes and characters in Roger Rabbit. Well, I hope you literally just meant Roger Rabbit, because there's nothing else from the
There's-
movie.
yeah. No Cab. There's no
Yeah, no
Jessica,
Jessica,
no
no-
Jessica, no
Not even
Valiant,
Toon Town is referenced. Like, there's not, or even Maroon Cartoon, or like what his job is
right?
before this. It's
Right,
all just, he's just a Christmas loving rabbit who's here to help the North Pole.
as one is, But by the way, before we get into your background, so you have that poster that says Roger Rabbit's very first Christmas at Disneyland,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of the stuff from the Christmas parade in there.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's the toy soldiers that march with the bugles. I'm looking at it. There's those weird bipedal reindeer that are kind of scary.
Oh yeah.
The snowmen and the Christmas trees, like it's like they just took a picture or just drew the little picture of their very Merry Christmas parades and then just added Roger Rabbit on top, which is kind of like the show
Riding in a sleigh pulled by Benny the Cab.
by Benny the Cab. Yeah. Which I want that special. Give me that special. I'll take that.
Now, I saw online that there was a Roger Rabbit village, Christmas village at Disneyland.
Oh,
Like, I saw that blurb, but I can't find anything else
Yeah.
about, like, it supposedly existed, but it is lost to history.
yeah. Same thing. I think he was actually in the parade that year.
Oh yes. I saw it in the there's a little commercial before the video that we watched
Right.
that shows him like in a little like thing waving from the like a chair that's floating over the people.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing Disneyland has at least is great production values. So
Mhm,
you can tell there's like crane shots, there's all sorts of other things in there. They're just like, wow, okay. They did that pretty well. Unlike this cameraman dad that we see here. which-
Yeah. I even watched I watched another angle of this show. And I
okay.
found another YouTube video of it just to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, is there A, better audio? No.
Right. Yeah.
B, is there anything else I'm missing that I could have seen? Although I will say on the second one I watched,
Mhm.
the timing was way off. Like
Oh, that's
the guys
interesting.
Charles Fleischer had done the voice, and several other people had done voices that are just happening during the show. Whereas the Murray, the elf, is live action, and he's talking real time.
Right.
Apparently, he didn't get the timing right because like Roger came in over top of his dialogue a lot in this other video that I watched.
Nice.
Like, oh, Roger's talking. You better ask the question because he's answering it.
Like I don't know if he was just drunk that day or Murray. I don't know what was up.
This is
Just a
Murray's
little
understudy,
slow.
I guess.
It could be, yeah, it could be. But you're right, yeah. The ones out there, they're just not great. But it's still just thinking about it cracks me up because nowadays you want to record something, you just have your little phone, and you can kind of hide it in front of your face or wherever. But yeah, back then it had to be like one of those just gigantic things. So yeah, it makes me laugh. But anyway, so Murray's telling the story about the first time he met Roger Rabbit. And so it was Christmas Eve, which is kind of cutting it a little close, but he still had an opening for an elf and he needed help making toys. So how did Roger Rabbit get this help wanted ad here? That's what I'm
Yeah,
curious about.
what is this express from Toon Town to the North Pole?
Right.
And if it's Christmas Eve, why are there 3 season clicks. I mean, we'll get there when we talk about the clock.
I was gonna, yes. That
It's like,
was another thing.
what is that unit of time measurement?
I don't know, but I want to use it all the time. That's going to be my new standard. How many days till Christmas? Well, I don't know, but it's like 60, holiday clicks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's Christmas Eve. Roger Rabbit comes in and basically he kind of knights him, essentially. He inducts him into the Fellowship of Elves or something. He says,
With this hat here, Roger, I dub you an elf.
I mean, not a lot of pomp and circumstance on that one there. And
No. And yeah, nobody else is there, just those two.
it's just those two. So if they need so much help, like where are the other elves?
I mean, I
don't-
guess that's why they're stupid to rabbits. Like, we got nobody. We got Murray and Roger. Nobody else is in this factory that makes 3 toys.
they all left to go bake cookies in a tree. So yeah, so he kind of shows him around the factory and he introduces him to Max, which at first I thought was MAX, and then I realized it's an acronym for Multiple Animated Christmas Supplier. It's the XE2000 series of MACS, Max.
Wow, you have a sharper eye than I. I just thought his name was Max.
I just turned on the closed captions.
Oh,
If you can take advantage of a situation in some way, it's your duty as an American to do it.
Yeah, no. I got to watch everything with captions now. I'm at that age where it's like he introduces Roger to Max, who is probably the most cartoony looking thing in this whole special. He's got the big giant eyes. He's I guess kind of the link to Toon Town. Like I could see him being in the Roger Rabbit movie.
Okay.
Maybe. I mean, I'm reaching.
That makes sense.
But it kind of fits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says Santa's completely online and that Max is the heart and soul of this Christmas factory. And so after that, he introduces Roger to the holiday clock, who reminds Murray that, there are 3 seasonal ticks before Christmas, which again makes no sense because it's Christmas Eve. So perhaps a seasonal tick is 8 hours. I don't know.
I mean, who can say?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Could be less because we don't know when on Christmas Eve Roger got up there.
Right, exactly. We don't know what time this is, and we don't know which time zone they're, I mean, we know which time zone they're going to start in. So it must be, whenever New Zealand's Christmas starts.
I guess so. Yeah, I have no idea. Murray tells Roger that he'll be making 3 different toys there. So I guess all the more complicated stuff like Nintendos are being made somewhere else. He's going to be making like a saluting toy soldier, a crying baby doll, and he calls it a moo cow, but it's basically just Clarabelle, right? Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
It seems just like
it's 100% Clarabelle, which gets really confusing later.
Because there's more than one, right?
Exactly. I'm like, they would never let that happen nowadays.
That's amazing. I love that. But yeah, this mooing cow or moo cow or whatever. So he shows Roger all the whirling gizmos and flashing thingamajigs to use their own words. And we get a nice long song about pulling levers and pushing buttons.
Piece of cake! See this lever, pull the tether, set your inventory code right here. Sign up the necessary counter-revolutionary. Think of what's the planetary theory here. Modulate your regulator, agitate your compensator, alternate the alternator, get it nice and good. Mobilize the maximum to maximize the nucleus, and I can help you like everybody would.
I do gotta say, the songs were okay. None of them were really super catchy though. Like I couldn't tell you. If you asked me to sing them for you, I couldn't sing it. And I've watched it like twice now.
Yeah, I've watched it 2 times today, and I still couldn't sing any of the songs for
Exactly. They're just not that catchy. So they're spending money on their sets rather than on their on their musicians here.
Yeah, they didn't call the Sherman Brothers in on this one.
No. Oh, can you imagine a Sherman Brothers Roger Rabbit song? That would have been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They start pulling buttons or pulling levers and pushing buttons, and the toys start coming out the door. And it's like one of those old-timey cuckoo clocks that kind of rotate around like in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get the first, and it's always in the same order. It's like the soldier, the doll, the cow, and we see them. And then there's more. And each time they're saluting, and the dolls, they're doing their own little things there. And we see Clarabelle go by. We see Clarabelle go by again. So this is where we find out that, of course, because like every science fiction movie tells us, there's always a self-destruct button. we we find out there's a panic button here.
That you are never supposed to press.
But why? Why aren't you supposed to press it?
Because no one ever has. That is literally what Murray tells Roger
That's what he
Rabbit.
tells him, because you can't. Nobody's ever pressed it.
So why is it there? If you're never supposed to press it, why did you put it there?
I don't know. I really don't. But it's like one of those other I was watching Geostorm the other day. Don't ask me. No judging. But I was watching I was watching Geostorm, and there's of course a self-destruct button that you can't stop once you press. So
Of course.
it's like that just seems like faulty engineering, you know. The same thing with this panic button. I don't know what it's for. I assume it's to stop everything, but you know, there's got to be a way to start it up. And we do find out later there is, but it's a little bit of a suspect kind of way.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. So Murray splits and leaves Roger to do his own thing.
I've given you almost 5 minutes of instructions. Not quite. You're good to go. Good luck.
Teamsters. No, yeah, you're right. He doesn't really, and the only reason Roger even knows what to do is because Murray sings about it.
Right.
As we said, the songs aren't that catchy, so of course Roger's not going to remember it. This poor guy. So Roger's now singing, and of course Max and the holiday clock are actually kind of joining in with him. And I love this holiday clock because it's basically like, yo, you got to stay on point here because this thing's coming. So the toys are dancing as they're going around. They're doing their different moves, and I know it's not a visual medium, so
but I was very impressed. Like they do like a dance number with him and like doubles of all the toys,
right?
And like those costumes. I've been a college mascot. And also I was Westy the Westfield kangaroo once.
Oh, nice.
Those costumes are not easy to see and or move in. Yet they are doing a coordinated, choreographed song and dance number.
Yeah, you got to be in like ridiculous shape for that.
Yeah, they must be just dripping with sweat.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of, do you remember that old Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren?
Yes.
The He-Man movie? Yeah. Well, apparently the Beastman costume, like they put in those prosthetics to make his teeth all jagged and sharp, but at the time they also prevented him from closing his mouth. And so like saliva would he would just be drooling all down. And so his costume would like weigh like 30 to 40 pounds more at the end of the day.
Oh, why?
That's kind of how I feel this has got to be, right? you know, that's how it is here. They're just, they're having trouble. They're like over exaggerating their steps just to make it seem normal. Yeah. If you're not in shape by the time when you start, you definitely are when you're done. Yeah. So they're starting to dance. And Roger starts pressing more buttons for some reason. Didn't seem like he had to.
It seemed like it almost seemed like Murray could have just said it and forget it and didn't need Roger for this.
Right?
He could have just pressed all those buttons and left and gone and whatever else he was so important he had to go do.
Exactly.
Also, Max, the machine that's making them, is itself a conscious being. Why can't it do it itself?
I don't know. Maybe they're afraid of like a SkyNet situation.
We can't give them too much power.
They need some sort of human oversight. I don't know. Or rabbit oversight in this case. Yeah. So Roger starts pressing buttons, and at this point, this is where the toys start going in reverse around the entire thing. So now instead of going clockwise, they're going counterclockwise. So Roger's like, well, something's not right here. So he actually goes inside Max to check it out. Which, I mean, that's a whole nother thing there, because as he starts adjusting levers, Max is audibly like groaning. And,
like, hey, that's not right.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to do that, Roger.
Yeah, I felt so bad for Max.
Wait a minute. Vegetarian death is leaving here.
So now the toys, they're still being produced, but now they're coming out with rabbit ears. Which...
Well, I thought we were supposed to like somehow the machine had turned Roger Rabbit into all three of the toys.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Because he was talking as like the soldier came out with rabbit ears going, I always wanted a suit or whatever,
did
or
say
a
that, didn't he?
uniform. And
Yeah.
then and he came out as the doll. Oh, pink never was my color. And then Clarabelle comes out with rabbit ears, and he goes, I need to move along.
Okay, so now that's even scarier because,
Yes.
because now it's like a Superman 3 where the girls turn into that robot that used to
Or Jeff
scare-
Goldblum's The Fly. Like
Or
somehow
they merged at
Roger
the end.
Rabbit and the toys keep getting transported and merged into one thing. But wait, there's more.
So Roger adjusts a few more things and he comes out and he comes out and he comes out. There's now 3 Roger Rabbits on stage. And I like how each time he comes out, he says the same phrase.
Boy, am I glad I picked that.
But a different word is emphasized each time.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, boy, am I glad I fixed that. Then, boy, am I glad I fixed that. And then, boy, am I glad I fixed that. I mean, it was it was so strange. But yeah, so now there's 3 Roger Rabbits that start singing and dancing, and they grab some canes because I don't know where they got their canes, but they have canes with them. And
I mean, that is the least plausible thing in this whole show. Where did they get these games?
That's right. That's just like standard Looney Tunes logic. You know, you just whoop, I got.
I like that as soon as you see 2 clones of yourself, you're like, well, gotta dance. Like that's first thing I would do.
I mean, that's what they teach you in college, right? I mean, it's when you're in science.
Get a clone of yourself, start singing, and start dancing.
That's right. I learned that in biochem. Yeah. So finally, after their big, nice dance and song number, which is kind of like tappy and a little bit of a jazz thing, they go in. All 3 go in one door. And finally, only one Roger comes out. So presumably it's the same Roger Rabbit. We don't know if it's actually one of the clones just impersonating him.
Or what happened to the other 2 clones? Like, okay, are they just hanging around in the back, or did something sinister happen off stage?
It's like the Prestige.
Exactly.
The clones of him just drowning in tanks.
Or did Scotty manage to merge their patterns all back together into one person and beat them back up?
I like that. I don't know, but I have questions, and so I'm going to need some answers from the writers of the show. So yeah, at this point, the holiday clock is again just begging him, like, bro, you got to get on this now.
Enough with the dancing.
Like I know you're supposed to dance when you meet clones of yourself, but like you took a little too long now. So Roger starts doing, and at this point, it seems like everything's kind of going fine. He's making the toys, but the holiday clock and Max also remind him that like he's doing it a little too slowly now.
Actually, old chap, you're in need for a bit more speed.
He's right, Roger. We better pick it up or we'll be late.
He starts a course because he's Roger Rabbit. He starts pulling levers. And I feel like it's one of those classic tropes where you grab a lever and you just pull it all the way down at like the red zone. And that's like too dangerous.
And then it comes off in his hand.
Right.
Like, he's like, speed it up. He's like, oh, it's all the way sped up. And now the lever's off.
Yeah. At this point, it's all right. It's almost time. We'll just got to make these toys. But they're going so fast that Max starts freaking out as well. Which is actually a little creepy because he's got those big old eyes, and that's fine. He's got the display underneath it, but underneath that is like these teeth, and the shape of the teeth when he starts talking, it's just a little freaky when he's freaking out. You know, it's like, whoa, you're giving me the creeps there, Max. And so Roger, of course, goes crazy, and
it's time for Chekhov's panic button.
Exactly. He starts that classic Roger scream. That I can't do, and
I can't either. I was gonna try it, but I'm like, ah.
So was I. I decided, no, I can't. But he presses the panic button. Yeah, thank goodness for the panic button. But this is where we kind of like cut, and Murray comes back out to talk to the audience, and this is where we realize, oh yeah, this whole thing was like a big framing device. It's literally just Murray telling the story in gear.
Right. Like, so like we're not in any actual danger. This is all in the theoretical past.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's erase all the stakes completely. So he comes out and he's like, I told him, didn't I tell him? Like, I warned him. So of course, at this point, you got to have some audience participation. And so he's talking to the kids. What did I say? And of course the kids are talking back.
I warned him. Didn't I warn him? Lisa, did I warn him? Yeah, anybody else hear me warn him? Yeah, I warned him. I said, whatever you do, don't push that button.
So cut back to the past, whenever this was, years ago, an unspecified amount of time years ago. And Murray starts to reprimand Roger. And this is where they decide they need to turn it on, but they don't know how. So they're going to consult the manual. Now, this joke is probably not allowed anymore. As a Hispanic, I feel like it's okay. I can say it. But
All right. Well, because I feel like it doesn't even land.
no,
Like they don't actually make the joke because they pronounce it manual
right.
as opposed to Manuel or,
Right.
you know, but like it comes out playing the Mexican hat dance song.
Yes, it does.
But there's no further like get it? See how it sounds the same? There's nothing. And then like the manual is not particularly, you know, doesn't have an ethnic origin. It just looks like a book, just a big book with legs as you see.
Yeah, exactly. You know, one of those standard book with legs. It's the one that you need when you're talking, you know, you're learning about meeting clones of yourself. That book of,
Fortunately, it's open to the right page.
they always are. I don't know about you, but I open a book and it's always on the exact page that I need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes walking out to me.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, the Mexican hat dance thing, I just laughed so hard. I was like, what are they doing?
Well, I was like, oh, what are they gonna do? And then nothing. They didn't proceed to actually make the joke. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I guess we're okay. Are we?
That's
Are we
right.
canceled? What's
We
happening?
don't- yeah, we don't need a. Everybody's good. You're good. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Manual. Get it. Ooh. But this is where they read in the book. This is the stupidest thing. It says it's very important that you never ever, no matter what you do, push the panic button. However, if you did, you just add the secret formula for Christmas: stir well and serve. What the heck does that mean? Because
Yeah, where do you add it? Like there's not a funnel to sploop it in anywhere.
this is like terrible instructions. You know, this is like IKEA instructions. Or
I was
something.
just about to say I've had IKEA instructions that are clearer than this.
Exactly. Yeah. So Roger's like, oh, and then he does it. He does punctuate that joke. He does. I forgot. He does say "ole" at the end of it.
Oh, Oosh. I missed it. I watched it so many times. How did I miss that? I mean, it's because the audio is not amazing.
No, it's really not. I had to listen very closely, and it was hard.
Oh, you had the captions on. That's
I
how
had
you
the
did
captions on. Exactly. Yeah. That's the only reason I caught
it.
it.
That's your life hack.
Yeah. So yeah, he says "ole," and so Roger's like, "Okay, go ahead, add it." And Murray doesn't know what he's talking about. He's like, I don't have a formula. No, sorry. He's more New York than that. I got no formula.
Hey, I got no what are you doing? I got no formula over here. I'm actually making it more Jersey than New York's, but
I was gonna say something, but I don't want hate from New York or New Jersey, so I'm gonna cut that joke. I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, so they decide the smartest thing to do. Let's consult Max because I feel like he probably has to know it, right? So they consult Max, and he's like, I can't tell you the secret formula. Why?
Like, Max, your priorities are unclear. Like, we need to hurry up and get this started again, or else we're going to miss Christmas. But I can't tell you the thing that will help us do that because it's a secret. Why is it a secret? Because we're protecting Christmas, the thing that I'm worried about ruining by not doing it.
And this is where, yeah, he's in one of those endless loops, and so his programming just causes him to shut off or something.
Yeah, but he is going to tell them if they guess correctly. And
it's a nice loophole.
And they just start guessing random things that are the formula for Christmas.
But you got to do it in a song.
Right. Yes, of course.
Yeah. I'll only, if you guess it right, I'll tell you, but only if it's in a song. So they start naming turkey. They bring out like a huge turkey on stage. Tree. There's a big tree that comes out on stage.
Again, with legs, like just like the manual. This one is like it's a person tree, but like it's mostly a tree, but it has feet and legs and walks around and dances. Wait, it has hands, I think, coming out of the branches.
I think it does too. Yeah. Are we getting gypped? Like, does Santa keep all the prime trees to himself? You know, because I would
Well,
like to
clearly
not.
these are glitchy, so maybe that's why they're not
Oh, maybe that's
sent out
why,
to the
yeah.
public.
Okay, so maybe he's protecting us. I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's like Santa's keeping all the cool stuff to himself. Like, and here I am lugging my own tree out of my garage like a chump. But no,
Yeah,
you're
just
right.
be like, tree, come on in.
You
Go
just
time,
gotta-
buddy.
Just give him a drink of water. He's good. But yeah, so they even ask if it's like, is it snow? And then of course it starts to snow on Roger. But yeah, it's like, again, it's a fun song. It's not super catchy though, but they go through the whole rigmarole. Finally, the holiday clock tells them to hurry. And at this point, they're pretty panicked until the big man himself shows up.
Well, good evening to you, Murray. Have you finished the toys for all the big little boys and girls?
Santa Claus.
Mhm.
Although I swear he says something like, you only have one more guess. I'm like, wait, what happens after this? What, we can't keep guessing.
It shuts down. It's like a password. You know?
Oh. Now you got to reboot.
Yeah, it
You got to do a hard
erases all
reset
the-
and wipe the whole hard drive.
I was about to say that. Erases all the memory. And oh, that's terrible. But yeah, so Santa shows up. I actually kind of liked the look of the Santa as
Mhm.
opposed to some other Santas. His Santa coat was kind of long. It was kind of closer to his knees rather than like ending closer to the waist, like most Santa coats.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, you just don't really see that. So I enjoyed the different look of him.
I hadn't even thought about it. I just took it for granted. I'm like, yeah, there he is.
And at least we got to see him, unlike that Andy Williams special. That we...
True.
The whole point was to meet Santa, and instead we saw through the eyes of Santa. But in this one, we actually see Santa. So all right.
on the second, not the one you had linked me to when we were talking about this, but the other one I found on YouTube, Santa and Roger Rabbit got an applause break when they showed up on stage the first time.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, that doesn't help with the timing, but okay.
Exactly. That was the problem. The audience was too interactive.
So I guess that's the downfall if you're doing an interactive show. So stick with like lasers, like Pink Floyd, and just call it a day. Of course, Murray at this point, he's all upset. He tells Santa that he doesn't know what happened, but he accidentally pushed the panic button, and Roger is just so overcome with guilt that
he says he did it.
That he says, yeah. He's like, no.
This was the thing. In the other version, Murray didn't get the chance to say that he did it. Roger just came in and said, no, it was me. But Murray hadn't said he'd done it yet, so it made no sense. And I was like, thank goodness I didn't watch this one first.
I love the idea of different audiences seeing different things. Nowadays, like, these things are so well rehearsed. They rehearse for like months and months and months. And this probably was done maybe just a couple of weeks. They're trying to get their timings right. And...
Exactly. Because Roger Rabbit had only come out that summer. Right? They had to build this whole thing around him between summer and I assume November when this started. Oh, wait, it's December. Had the poster.
Yeah.
It must have started at maybe it didn't start when I got there because I go there for Thanksgiving. I used to go there for Thanksgiving.
So maybe it wasn't there yet, and that's why you didn't see it. Yeah.
That's when they used to do, like, they would close really early the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would just turn. It would go from not Christmas to Christmas on Thanksgiving.
Nice.
But maybe like the shows weren't all up and running yet, including this one. So maybe that's why I didn't see this.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I would have liked to have seen it. Honestly, I would have liked to have been there. It's strange and quirky, but I think I would have had a blast just watching Roger Rabbit talk to Santa,
Well, especially at 10.
Exactly. Okay. So yeah, Roger confesses he's guilt-ridden. He's like, no, it was me. Murray's trying to take the blame for me. And this is where Santa's like, hey, it's okay. We just add the secret formula. And the secret formula is, as Harry Potter and Dumbledore know, it's love.
I'm like, well, Santa clearly has no problem telling us the secret formula. Why is Max so tight-lipped?
Well, maybe because Santa's like the big guy. He's
I guess he can authorize. Right. Yeah. Okay. Like any Joe Schmo who works at KFC can't tell you the secret recipe, but whoever the CFO or CHCO could probably tell you if they deemed it necessary.
And spices, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Santa tells him the recipe for 11 herbs and love. I don't know, whatever, however you want to word that. So it's love. and it's the love that's all around us, especially on the faces of children. But you also have to add peace on earth and goodwill towards men. But again, the manual says you got to stir these up, mix them together, and then stir and serve. But how do you do that? I don't understand.
Yeah, how do you do any of that into the machine?
I don't know.
Or now, not only do we not have anywhere to put it in, like we are now dealing with abstract concepts.
Hey, you haven't lived if you've never bottled up abstract concepts and put them into an anthropomorphic.
I had some joy and indecision, and it was delicious.
So yeah, so Santa's able to get the Max back online, and everything's fixed. And then Santa sings a song.
I was like, despite the fact that we were in a hurry, we all stopped down to do a huge musical number.
See, this is where I think maybe Santa's using like his time-stopping powers or something, because that's the only explanation. Otherwise, they're going to have to kick Max back into high gear, and again,
we're gonna run into the same problem over again.
So hopefully they don't sing after that one. Yeah. So they sing a song. Roger and Murray join in, and Murray pretty much, this is where he wraps it up. He ends the flashback. He tells the kids that Roger's been with them every year since then. And the toys and the tree come out on stage, and everybody does their curtain calls, and Santa wishes everybody Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
And then in one video, the kids are asked by their dad if they like the show.
And they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whatever lets us get in line for Small World.
I'm missing Space Mountain for this.
Yeah, exactly. Although I guess, so the canon of this show is that Roger Rabbit is now an elf at the North Pole and has been since 1988.
Yeah,
at least because this was the flashback was in 1998.
Right. So it's earlier. Yeah,
1988. Excuse me.
Who knows when? Like, how long ago was it? How long do toons live? I mean, forever, I think. So
I mean, yeah, because like the movie takes place in the 40s,
right?
I believe.
Yeah. So as long as they don't get dipped, I think they live forever, right?
Yeah.
So,
speaking of, Dr. Doom is at Disneyland, California Adventure, I believe, now for Halloween Horror Nights. Like, it's the first time they've had the character out.
Oh, of Judge Doom?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he dips a shoe in front of everybody.
No. Oh,
Yep.
that's...
I was like, oh, nightmares.
Yeah, I was gonna say traumatizing. It's like Artax in the swamp of what is it? Sadness.
Is that the Never-Ending Story?
The Never-Ending Story.
Yeah.
It's Optimus Prime's death.
Oh,
and
right.
Like the shoe dip, and like, traumatizes you like forever as a kid.
And Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Marge, yeah. Yeah, that was a scary one too. Oh goodness, yeah. So that's the stage show. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was of its time, but I still kind of enjoyed it. I would have liked to have seen it, and Roger Rabbit was cool, but I also would have liked to have seen some other Roger Rabbit characters in here.
Yeah.
The coolest thing to me was that gun with the bullets, the cartoon gun with the bullets as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want that. I was all into G.I. Joe and, all that stuff. So it made sense. Now I would just like to meet Eddie Valiant. I think Eddie Valiant working at the North Pole would have been pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Such
well,
a
like,
curmudgeon.
It seemed like the obvious thing to do would be like to make a Toon Town and see what Christmas is like in Toon Town. And then we could have run into any characters we wanted to.
Right.
Save the ones owned by Warner Brothers or Tex Avery or...
so just the Disneyland ones.
Yeah, because there's a Roger Rabbit ride in Disneyland, and you go past the Ink and Paint Club, which is where Donald and Daffy have their duet, and Donald Duck is playing that song by himself. Like, they don't even mention that he was playing it with somebody else. I thought maybe they'd say "and friend" and leave it up to the imagination of like, oh, I wonder who's there. Is it Daffy? But no, they just say Donald Duck's playing the song. Don't worry about
it. He muscled Daffy out of the biz.
Yeah.
he took the band name and hit the road. That's awesome.
He was putting too many drinks on his bill.
Oh, he'll be here all week, folks. Tim Babb, ladies and gentlemen.
You couldn't see it, but I was doing a stupid dance.
That was awesome. My favorite joke of the show so far. That was good. So What would you say? And it's kind of hard. If you could be in the special or the stage show. Now, there's not a lot of characters, but if you could be one of the voices or one of the stage members, who would you be?
I mean, I'd be Max. I mean, if like in terms of acting,
Sure, yeah.
I've been doing essentially what I'm doing now, just sitting in front of a microphone. Yeah, Roger. Oh no. Take it again. Okay. Oh, Roger. Wait a minute.
Oh, you want me to pause a little longer before Roger? And no, oh, okay.
Yeah. What if Murray's reacting to the crowd? Should I give him a beat?
Right. Yeah. No, actually, yeah. That at ADR is probably a nice session to be in. I mean, of course, I want to say Santa, but I'd probably just be one of the musicians that
Oh yeah.
I'd probably just be there with my guitar playing, and then just kind of, oh, the doors are closing on me. Oh, well, okay, I'll keep playing.
Bye.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I had to get in a costume for this.
I mean, at least it wasn't like a full costume full of sweat. So
True.
We'll take it. But I gotta ask. So, what would you say would be your happiest moment with this special? Since you don't really have a memory with it, and I don't either. But
You would think I would have prepared for this question because I knew it was coming.
you know,
my happiest moment was when they were all dancing together. I was like, this is impressive. Like I am legitimately impressed with like all the dancing that's going on right now.
Yeah, there was a lot of them. Yeah. And they were all great. I couldn't have done it. I'm not really a dancer. That's why I like to be on stage playing because I don't dance. Yeah. So for me, I think it would probably be, I want to say Santa because that's like the easy answer because who doesn't love Santa? But it's probably when the Christmas tree comes out on stage.
I wasn't pretty like, we're doing this now.
I still want to not carry my tree inside all the time. It's heavy. Like, make it happen. Like, Elon or Jeff Bezos, one of you guys, come on, make this
or the
happen.
People you pay who actually come up with ideas.
Who actually do the ideas. Yeah. Apple, why don't we have an iTree yet? By the way, if you guys make an iTree, I call dibs. Copyright. I'm copyrighting that right now. No, but anyway, but now we come to my favorite part of the show, which is a little segment I call Gag Me with the Spoon. So this is where we do our best impression of our least favorite part of the stage show in this case. As just kind of set up the scene for us, I'll let you go first as the guest.
Well, let's see. My least favorite part of the show. I have to say, like, I as I've gotten older, the beginning patter before we finally get started it's just started to grate on me. Like, yes, just let's get kicking. So the whole like, oh, hello, what's your name? I'm actually doing the wrong accent. I'm doing Santa's accent. But when Murray's like, oh, do you know what? Like when they're asking questions, like you know the answer. Why are you bringing me into this? You're the ones getting paid.
That's right. That's right. It's like, do you watch Parks and Rec?
I don't. I need to, but I don't.
Okay. Well, there's a little. There's a part where Tom Haverford, one of the characters, he's talking about calzone, or he's talking about food, and he's talking about sauce on the side, and he's like I don't like sauce on the side. Drizzle it on for me. I'm not your slave.
Well, I used to say when I worked in radio, and we would go to concerts, and then the singer would be like, "You sing." I'm like, "No, we paid the tickets. You sing."
That's right. Yeah. If I wanted to hear myself sing, I could do that for free in the shower. Like,
exactly. Plus, all these random idiots that are with me in the crowd, I don't need to hear them sing.
Exactly. If you're going to spend the money, like, go for it. Yeah, that's good. No, so mine was actually also a Murray quote. This is where he's telling Roger about don't press the button. And he said this phrase a few times, and he then even sang this phrase. And I remember saying this phrase as like a kid, and now it's just like, I said it so much as a kid. I hate it. I can't stand it. I can't believe I said it. But so Roger asked him, like, why can't he press the button? He says, because you can't. Nobody ever pressed that button. Got it good. Like,
yes.
Like, I remember saying that. No thanks. Pass. Hard pass. Let's go. But G.I. Joe taught us that knowing is half the battle. What do you think the other half is?
Just reading the full manual before you start making toys and adjustments to the toys.
That's right. That's right. Know the secret formula, right?
Yeah.
Several people need to know it just in case. No, that's good. I just thought if knowing's half the battle, the other half is just letting Santa fix all your problems. I don't know how feasible that always is, but yeah, there you go. Tim, it's been fun talking about the show with you, but tell me about anything you got coming up. Any plugs you want to make?
Oh, just the Merry Music Madness, which I already managed to shamelessly plug earlier. We are, but to explain it more, basically I grabbed all the most popular Christmas musicians, from singers to singing groups. Even there's a couple writers in there or instrumental performers. And basically I did a March Madness style bracket competition where they're facing off against each other. And like there's different rounds every month, and we're down to part two. Well, but depending on when this airs, we're either on part 2 of round 2 or part 1 of round 3. I think round 3 just has one part. But anyway, we are getting down to eventually, like, it's just the bracket is closing and closing and closing till we're going to vote on who is the ultimate Christmas artist.
Right on.
And that's all going on at Christmas Podcast. No, can't wait for ChristmasPodcast.com. It's going on at doesn't remember his own URL.net. It's probably a real thing.
Been there, bro. I've been there. Yep. Yeah, can't wait for Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pod.
Can't wait for Christmas pod. There you go.
Yeah, because Can't Wait for Christmas was taken. I don't know who has that website, but it's not me.
Oh man, that's kind of a bummer. But but Can't Wait for Christmas, one of the best out there. You guys won't be disappointed, especially if you check out his original teleplay, A Bomb for Christmas.
Oh yes,
one of my favorites. It's just
3 years old this year.
Wow. Oh. Wow. That makes me feel old, but
I know, because it was during the pandemic,
right,
when everybody had time, and I was like, okay, listeners, just voice these things that I've written, and then I'll mash them all up together into a movie that combines a Hallmark movie and Die Hard into one thing.
But it's still awesome. I still love it.
I mean, I definitely have a special place in my heart for it, mostly because my wife played the main character, and also I was just so pleasantly surprised by how good the listeners were at doing various voices.
Yeah, a lot of talented people out there. But yep, go check out Can't Wait for Christmas. And on that note, let me say, Tim, thanks again.
No, thank you.
And I'll end it with Christmas isn't fun without a rabbit. So check us out on our social media pages, which you can find at linktree.com/totallyradchristmas. And if you're feeling like Roger when Santa tells him the secret ingredient to Christmas, leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us reach more people and spread some rad holiday cheer. Now, don't forget to check out our merch shop on TeePublic and our super dope website, totallyradchristmas.com. The spirit of Christmas is love. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Later, dudes.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas here at the happiest place on earth, as the miracle of the holidays transforms Disneyland into a truly magical place. Disneyland, in fact, is making this holiday season all the more special as they welcome Roger Rabbit as the newest member of the Disney family. Roger's no stranger to success, as he was catapulted into stardom in the motion picture masterpiece, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? To celebrate Roger's first Christmas, the folks at Disneyland went all out to make him feel right at home with special events in his honor. The centerpiece of this Yuletide celebration is Roger Rabbit's Christmas Village. Guests will be able to meet Toon Town's most famous character and see him starring in his very own show, Roger Rabbit and the Christmas Factory. You might also catch Roger Rabbit as he hosts Disneyland's very merry Christmas parade, and as he turns on the magic in the traditional tree lighting ceremony. Whether you pose with Toontown's wackiest character or stroll along with Roger Rabbit and enjoy the Yuletide cheer, the magic of Disneyland during the holidays makes it truly the happiest place on earth.
So you're looking for a podcast. Maybe it's one that'll help you learn about something specific, or maybe you're just looking for something to keep your kids entertained while waiting in the carpool pickup line. Don't worry, I've got you covered. Hi, I'm Andy Smiley, the Friendly Podcast Guide. I'm a mom who uses podcasts to fight the boredom and loneliness of motherhood and to entertain my kids when I need a break. And I want you to be able to use podcasts in these ways too. But it can be overwhelming to try and find a podcast you or your kids will enjoy in the thousands of shows that are out there. That's where I come in. Each week, I talk about different podcasts with topics ranging from parenting to pop culture and everything in between. My episodes are short and they answer your questions about the show, so you'll know if it's a good fit for you or your kids or not. Now, let's talk podcasts. I love podcasts. I use them daily in a myriad of different ways. Just today, I use them to connect with God, get caught up on the news of the day, entertain my kids while we're running errands, help me learn more about how to run a successful business, and to make me laugh super hard while I was doing the dishes. You too can have podcasts that cover all of these situations and even more. You could scour the internet to try and find all of those podcasts, reading podcast lists and trying to figure out if they're a good fit for you just by reading words from a stranger. Or you could listen to my show where I give you the facts of the podcast and the vibe of the show through an interview with the host or a clip from one of the podcast episodes. Finding a podcast doesn't have to be overwhelming or hard. You just need to listen to the Friendly Podcast Guide. Talk to you soon.